Not lied. He went off the facts that he had at the moment.
There were no facts. He lied about it.
No.
JD Vance admitted they lied about it.
Listen, maybe he misspoke.
He
probably misspoke. He probably misspoke, man. Like, you can't get a man just a little bit. He misspoke.
No, he's had how many years of getting a little bit? And how often does he get a little bit in this administration alone?
He was politicking, man. He was politicking.
He was lying.
No. He was politicking.
Because of tariffs, we have the highest stock market we've ever had. Because of tariffs, 401ks at the highest level.
It's not because of tariffs, to be clear. Every administration faces just how the stock market fucking works.
And this is millions and millions of people that we've ever had, 401ks. I think it's the most important subject discussed by the Supreme Court in 100 years. If they take away the power of tariffs from
the most important in 100.
And it has to be quick and nimble. You can't have Congress where hundreds of people have to look. They can't even agree to continue a country. You can't have Congress. This has to be quick and nimble.
Well, you just finished that sentence. You said, if they take away my power to do tariffs, what?
It would be a very sad day for the United States of America. We're making a lot of money. We're respected again all over the world. We have great national security. Let me give you an example. With China, they were, very strongly threatening us, frankly, with the rare earths. And then I said, well, if you're going to play that card, I'm going to put a 100% tariff on over and above what you're already paying, which was 55%, which was very high. A lot of money coming in, tremendous money like we've never seen. I'm going to put a 100% tariff on everything over and above. And you know what happened? We got a phone call 20 minutes later. We'd like to talk. If they take away the right to tariff,
the right to tariff.
Congress to approve.
It's not the right to tariff. You just have to get a congressionally approved tariff, you fucking dipshit.
And approve anything. They would be sitting around for years debating whether or not we should use tariffs.
You want that power. You want that executive
power. You need
it
to protect our country.
You need it?
This is a
you need that power?
Tariffs are
Are you
national
kidding
security.
me?
If you take away the right to tariff...
Tariffs are national security.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that's the reason he's able to deploy the tariffs as he is, because he's declaring it as a national emergency. Therefore, the executive has the unilateral authority in order to
DNA test or national security or traffic
lights. Can you just answer the question that tariffs have led to inflation? They have led to an increase in cost of living.
Yeah, but he has the unilateral authority in order to enact the tariffs as he sees fit, and to be reviewing this to see if he does have the unilateral authority indefinitely, or as long as he declares the thing to exist in the way that does.
Inflation. We have no inflation. We have no inflation. Biden had inflation and he didn't have tariffs. He didn't use tariffs.
You know why
he didn't use it? Because he's not smart enough to
use it. But the companies say they passed on more than 30% of these costs to the American consumer. The tariffs, and somebody has to pay for it.
Indie television. Are you joining or requesting to join to disagree, or are you?
Yeah, you have to pay, but we don't have any inflation. Inflation is the real test of paying. Everybody said, oh, if you do tariffs, you're going to have inflation. So Biden had the highest inflation in the history of our country by far. Okay? No tariffs.
Gotcha.
I have
Give me 1 second.
very modest tariffs compared. Let me tell you, these tariffs ultimately are so good that at some point, when they're used properly, and I use them more properly than anybody's ever even dreamt possible, think of it. We become rich, we're taking in trillions of dollars, and I have no inflation, and I have total national security. When I put the 100% tariff on China over and above what they were already paying, which was about 55%, so 155, they came to the table immediately and they made a deal with us that was a very fair deal. That's called national security. And then I didn't make them pay the 100%. That would have been instituted, that would have come to 4 on November 1st.
I know.
Listen to me. If I didn't have the power of tariff, we would be like a subject
power of
nation. We'd be subject to everyone else.
He's like
He-Man.
True.
If I wasn't allowed to use tariffs on them, we would be a third world nation.
I know your time is limited, so I do want to make sure I get through more of these topics.
Sure.
Immigration. You campaigned on immigration. You largely won the election on a promise to close the border, and you succeeded on that. Illegal crossings at the southern border are at a 55-year low. More recently, Americans have been watching videos of ICE tackling a young mother, tear gas being used in a Chicago residential neighborhood, and the smashing of car windows. Have some of these raids gone too far?
No, I think they haven't gone far enough because we've been held back by the judges.
Not far enough, by the way.
By Biden and by Obama.
Insane.
You're okay with those tactics?
I'll bring you up. What's up? Indie television.
What's going on is the tariffs are good. You gotta protect our economy.
Why is it good?
Right? Because let me explain to you real quick, right? Look at what's going on with China, right?
Mm-hmm.
They threaten to cut off critical minerals to the United States. This is everything that goes into our economy, that runs your phone, your iPhone, computer, everything important, right? We have to have a way to combat these people. We can't get pushed around by the Chinese, right? Even under Biden, right, the last lazy year, right, when he was campaigning, they had a whole Senate subcommittee in the United States and the Communist Chinese Party, right, where they were going over all sorts of stuff that China was trying to do to the United States. This is under the Democrats, right? So what Trump is doing is just continuation of American policy that was already implemented by Joe Biden. This is not anything negative make it out to be. And I think the president should have the power to place tariffs on countries, and it's gonna protect our economy and keep us safe.
Were to grant that Biden did tariffs, those were more targeted focused tariffs, whereas the unilateral tariffs on every single country that is undeserving of tariffs are being imposed on by Donald Trump for seemingly no reason. If the issue is going to be China, then I don't know what the issue is with these other countries that he's bothering tariffing, if you are going to talk about the rare minerals or the threat of rare minerals. So for one, those are focused tariffs. For two, what benefits have you seen come from this flip-flopping on tariffs whatsoever from Donald Trump?
Well, look, he had to get he did a shot across the bow to get their attention, so he could get everybody to come to the table to make a deal. It was a
What deals have he
negotiation
made?
tactic. He made a lot of deals.
He
like
hasn't.
So what was his tour to Asia? What was the deal? What was the tour to Asia and China right now?
It was probably an attempt to make a deal, but he hasn't made any deals.
Well, what do you mean he didn't make any deals?
There is
Like,
no signed agreement between any of these countries that he was talking about negotiating with. We had a trade surplus trade surplus whenever it came to our deals with the UK that he still imposed tariffs on. He said 90 deals in 90 days. He's gotten, I think, literally none so far. Like, what benefit
what's your
is he?
definition of a deal? Like, what's your definition of a deal?
Probably something that is able to be put on record, that can be shown that there's going to be some extent of exchange between two parties that are involved in an agreement of trade of goods, or different rates that are imposed on different types of or imports or exports. Like, I would consider that a deal, but it seems like he has gotten none.
Well, listen. So here's the thing, right? Let's just think about this real quick, right? If these countries come to the United States, they've made deals, they've made memorandums of agreements. Would you at least admit to that? They've made some sort of progress. I just find it hard to believe that they've made no progress on any of these tariff deals.
To be clear,
Nothing.
I'm not saying progress, I'm saying deals, because that's what the president promised, right? Like, he ran on 90 deals in 90 days. He ran on ending the war in Ukraine day one. Like, he's failed to do either of those significantly. So much so that he is constantly crying on Truth Social to Putin and Netanyahu, like, hey, can you guys stop fucking bombing these places? Can you guys stop fucking attacking these places?
Look, it was the spirit of that was the spirit of what he wanted to do.
What does the spirit matter if it's
Right.
ineffective, though?
No, I mean, listen, no. How can you end a war that you're not even fighting?
Well, now he's boasting 8 wars that he supposedly has solved, right?
He did.
Okay, why can't he do this one?
He did. Well, listen, it's not a normal war.
It's
This
not.
one,
What's so abnormal about this one, though?
it's Russia is entrenched. Russia's crazy. Like, Putin is a crazy dude. What we wanted him to do was we wanted him to try.
Yeah, but you guys would never have that standard for Biden or Harris.
No, we would have that standard for Biden. We had that standard. We had it. If Biden ran and said,
Do you
"I was
say
gonna
that
end
Biden
all the
tried?
wars," he did. He tried, but he didn't succeed. But no, Biden started the war.
How do you start the war?
He started. Look, first off, Biden nuked the dollar when he made that terror, whatever he did, those sanctions, when he put those sanctions on Russia. He got them to break
Donald Trump
away.
is doing now, right?
Yeah, but Trump had to take over for Biden. He had to take over for Biden. He took over for Biden.
If he's taking over for Biden, then why is he still implementing the sanctions that Biden implemented in the first place?
Because they're already in place.
But I thought they were taken away. So why would he take them away and then bring them
doesn't
back?
matter to Trump at
Wait,
all.
wait. Why would that matter?
No. Look, what's Biden already did? Biden already made the bed. It's already.
He didn't make the bed. Putin made the bed.
No. Biden is the one who put the sanctions on Russia.
No, hold on. Wait, what do you mean when you say made the bed? Are you saying sanctions or are you saying the war?
Both of them.
How did he make the war?
Listen, he was real aggressive with Russia. They know that. Look, who do you think started that war?
Putin.
Oh, you
Putin
think
started
Putin
the
started
war.
the war? You don't think Ukraine
I
started
mean,
first?
yeah, it's
Wait,
his
Torres.
army.
Torres, hold on. Wait, how did Putin not start the war?
Look. I've heard. We've heard recently that Ukraine probably started that war.
We did not hear recently. You're making that up because you have no fucking idea what you're talking about whenever it comes to any of this. How did Putin not start the war?
Listen. No.
I'm listening and I'm looking.
What do you mean? What are you talking about in 2014 or are you talking about in 2022?
I'm talking about in 2022 when he invaded into Ukraine.
You don't think that was in response to them trying to invade Donbass?
In response to who trying to invade the Donbass?
Ukraine, they tried to invade the Donbass.
No, it was... Sorry, go on.
Okay, no. He annexed the Donbass on the 23rd of February. He annexed the Donbass and the Zaporizhia region, right? Zelensky invaded that area, and then they shot back and went down to Kyiv. That's what I heard. Now you can disagree, but this is what I heard.
Responsibility going to be on the party that is actually invading into the territory that is a sovereign nation?
They're both to blame in this situation.
No, they're not both to blame, because you're saying Ukraine is the one that's responsible for the war beginning.
No. On which leg though? Because remember, there's two legs of this war. There's two legs. You have to admit that, right?
What do you mean two legs?
There's 2014 and there's now.
Okay, well, would the 2014 have any relevancy whatsoever regarding this?
Because that's when it started, right? That's when he got what. Okay. First he took Crimea, then he took the Zaporizhia, then he took the Donbass regions.
So he encroached on the Ukrainian territory, took it in 2014, and then continued to try and take it in 2022. Whenever Ukraine was fighting back.
No. Okay. In 2022, from what I heard, this is from what I heard, right? Putin was annexing the Donbass and the Zaporizhia region by a referendum, which we can agree. Which I don't know how you feel about it, whether or not they voted on it or not, or whether it was a valid vote. Then what happened is Ukraine invaded that region, and in response, Putin sent his troops to Kyiv. This is the story that was related to me.
Where was this relayed to you from?
This is what people have been saying. This is like what actually happened or something like that. This is the story we weren't told. This is like what, no, this is the truth though. Hold on. That you're telling me that
how can you confirm that? Did you just confirm that based on the guy saying the person that told you being like, trust me, bro? Is that enough for you?
No, like clearly I've paid attention to this. I'm not just pulling this out by behind. Like,
well, when you say pay attention to it, you mean like you were paying attention to other commentators that were speculating on stuff like this, on stuff like the tariffs, on stuff like Trump's general policies or whatever, because you have the exact like lines down packed. Like you're saying the exact same shit that everybody else is going to be saying about how this is a trade negotiation, how these are negotiating deals. Whenever he's gotten no deals, he's gotten no success, he's ended no real wars, he's refused to give any like subsidies or continue any subsidies whenever it comes to the SNAP benefits or any like healthcare benefits. Like he's a complete failure entirely so far. Like
no. First off, he did end a bunch of wars. He ended Azerbaijan in Armenia.
Were any of those declared to be wars?
Yeah, I mean, that was a war. That was the Nagorno-Karabakh.
It was a war or a conflict.
See, you're gonna play semantics.
No, it's not gonna no
conflict.
No, because whenever you're talking about when you're talking about international like affairs and you're talking about wars, it's a very like particular definition. It's going to refer to a very particular like circumstance defined by a very extreme thing, such as a war, not just a conflict.
Okay, but he ended 8 periods of bloodshed. From a humanitarian perspective, if you're a humanitarian, you would count them as a war regardless. If you're a humanitarian, if you care about human suffering and bloodshed.
I'm not going to count them as a war whenever it is a particular term that is being misapplied. Just to get give this guy like the benefit of the doubt for like his incompetence.
Right. Can you at least say he ended 8 conflicts, 8 fights, which were people were unaliving, people were perishing from the earth?
Potentially, but I'm not even sure if I would even grant that.
Nah. I mean, but is this not from a humanity? If you're a humanitarian, if you care about humanity, wouldn't you give him at least a little pat on the back, a slight pat on the back for this?
No, I think the insurrectionist, like loser fuck piece of shit that is completely incompetent in every aspect, like whatsoever. I think giving him a pat on the back is going to send the wrong signal. That I don't want anybody to have signaled to them that you can pat somebody who is as incompetent as Donald Trump. And what?
Listen, you're not going to give him any credence for ending these conflicts.
Wait, Torres, hold on.
If you're going to say it's not a war, and then you're going to say it's a conflict, you're going to say he doesn't get any credence for ending these conflicts. Nothing.
I'm saying that I am not going to, for one, give him a pat on the back for something that, what was it? Didn't he even like source it or whatever in like the fucking interview where he's like there are these planes going by in like India and Pakistan, and it was going to be really bloody, but then it actually wasn't really bloody, but it could have been. And it's like, because of some planes, dog. Like, this is the thing that I'm going to give you a pat on the back for, is by like, how is that? As we're currently from the humanitarian perspective, whenever we're illegally deporting so many fucking people, for one, for two, sending them to a prison which they don't even belong in, for three, shooting down these quote unquote drug ships that are coming from Venezuela that are unconfirmed and unidentified. Like, if you're going to talk about here, like, talk here and speak about the humanitarian perspective when it comes to Donald Trump, like, where's the consideration for any of this?
Well, listen, listen. If you looked into like the tenets of unrestricted warfare, migration is one of their tenets, right? You flood a country. Who wrote unrestricted warfare? Is that you ask me?
When you're saying that is one of the tenets of their warfare is by flooding in immigrants or whatever, like, what do you are you saying Venezuela is using this tactic?
Yeah. They're using this.
If they're using this tactic, then why is the justification talking about the boats that are being, or the drugs that are being smuggled on boats?
Not just that, right? These are all acts of aggression, right? These are acts of aggression, right? You gotta have to look at this like, if they're gonna.
No, we have no confirmation of that.
That's because the boat sunk.
No, you should have identification of these people and of these boats before you're attacking these boats.
No, if you know the boat is dirty, if you
do we know
the
that?
Boat is dirty, yeah, we know the boat.
How do we know that? Because the president said so.
I mean, look, he has satellite image. Look, do you want him to betray means and methods to prove?
How is he going to betray it if they're already sunken?
Well, like, what if he has like satellite photos of them being loaded up with, precursors and stuff?
Then I would maybe expect him to consult with like some people that are like militarily qualified to be able to do this, and then actually produce like some sort of evidence whatsoever that shows that these people were smuggling the drugs into the country as he states that they were. Instead of sinking one of the ships, having two of the people that are injured there, taking care of them, and then sending them back to the country that he claims is invading us. Does that make sense to you? Like, why would he do that?
So they can spread the message to their buddies to
spread the message. Is it not spreading the message enough whenever we have the media apparatus in America that is going to spread that around on its own?
Listen, I hear what you're saying, but listen, when it comes to this, right, you have to say, look, maybe Trump doesn't want to betray means and methods, right?
He doesn't care about that.
What do you mean? How do you know he doesn't?
January
care about
6th
that?
is the cleanest example of how he doesn't care about the means and methods of anything. Like, you acknowledge that, right?
January 6th. No. January 6th was just a riot.
It wasn't a riot. It was an insurrection. It was an intentional attempt for him to usurp power, like from Joe Biden after he lost the election.
Listen. I heard there were 285 FBI agents.
Yeah, you heard that, and that's not even true.
How do you know it's not true?
Because for one, they haven't shown any. The DOJ hasn't shown any evidence whatsoever about it. The FBI hasn't shown any evidence about it whatsoever. I would expect Kash Patel, the person who is the head of the FBI, to be able to show anything regarding that whatsoever. And then for three, you're probably talking roughly about the numbers of quote unquote informants that were in the crowd, which informants are also not agents, and informants can basically be anybody that has given information to the FBI at any point in time of their adult life.
That's a lot of informants in one spot, don't you think?
If you were to go with the 200 something number, yeah, I would say so, yeah. But for one, they've never provided any evidence of that whatsoever.
Well, look. As far as all that, right? When you say the best thing for us as a nation would be to put these insurrection talks behind us and move forward. No, you would want to still.
No,
bring
when
it up.
Stephen Miller, the person who is going to be the right hand man to Donald Trump right now, is talking about how Democrats are starting an insurrection or continuing insurrections on the street whenever they're protesting ICE. Yeah, I'm not going to put the insurrection that the president of the United States that got elected again. I'm not going to put that insurrection behind me. No, I'm good.
I mean, but he was the people's choice, though. I mean,
it doesn't matter if he's the people. The people can be fucking retarded, which I think they are. Yeah.
But we look. You're gonna say look, we had Joe Biden.
Yeah.
He performed so horribly in that debate. You don't think he performed horribly in that debate?
Even at his worst, he still performed infinitely better than Donald Trump did, who only speaks in slogans and has no substance whatsoever when he's speaking about anything. Like, have you ever seen Joe Biden be handed an executive order and then say, "What is this?" and then have it explained to him right next to him? Have you ever seen Joe Biden do that, or is it only Trump?
Well, we didn't really see much of Joe Biden.
You saw him on stage vocalizing what the executive order that he was signing and speaking on, what that was about. You saw him actually read it out loud and talk about it.
Come on, man. Like, bro, come on. I'm being
Not only
fair
that,
here.
but like the same grace you're trying to ask for Donald Trump isn't even giving to himself or his party or the opposite party or whatever, because he's literally still to this day talking about how the election is rigged in interviews and talking about how he's investigating the 2020 election, even though he went to court about it and it was determined that it was just a straight up lie.
Well, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. We'll have to see how that plays out.
We
have
don't.
To see how it plays out.
We don't.
Fox News also paid out millions in a settlement
hold on,
because of the fact that they admitted that they were lying about the Dominion machines.
We'll see. We'll see how this plays out.
What will we see though?
We already saw.
Well, hold on, Torres. Let me just talk to him. Okay, I don't want to be like too.
We'll have to see how it plays out. Look, I don't really necessarily know all that stuff, but here's the thing. I'm gonna say this. We have to see how it plays out, right? We don't know what revelations are gonna hit the mainstream networks.
But what would you expect to hit the mainstream networks?
That maybe Trump was telling the truth. Maybe these people did rig the election and they were criminals.
But what if he knowingly lied about it?
I don't think so. I don't think.
What if though? What if he did?
So you asked me like hypothetically.
Wait, Torres. Hold on. Yes, hypothetically. What if?
Hypothetically, I don't know.
Would that change your perspective whatsoever on like his behavior or anything like that, or worried about the structure or whatever you said earlier when you were talking about the process that it pertains to the sinking of the ships or the allowance of information from the president top down to give to the public? When you're saying he does care about that process, and I'm showing like, hey, in these instances he doesn't really give a fuck about it and he just wants to grandstand about it. Like, if I'm telling you that and I'm saying like, hey, he did knowingly lie about this, like, would that change your perspective to say that like, oh, maybe he was actually like full of shit the whole time and he doesn't actually have any evidence whatsoever?
No. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Let me just put it like this. I don't know. It probably would, but I don't think he did. I would be worried if he was lying to the American public. I would be. I don't like being lied to.
Okay. What about the Haitian dogs?
Listen. Maybe he got a little wrapped up in talking during the debate. He got a little out of hand.
And he lied?
Not lied. He went off the facts that he had at the moment.
There were no facts. He lied about it.
No.
JD Vance admitted they lied about it.
Listen, maybe he misspoke. He probably misspoke, man. Like, you can't get a man just a little bit. He misspoke.
No, he's had how many years of getting a little bit? And how often does he get a little bit in this administration alone?
He was politicking, man. He was politicking.
He was lying.
No. He was politicking.
He was lying, dude. You said you don't want. You'd be upset if he lied to you and the American people. He did lie to you. He and JD Vance admitted that they lied about the Haitian immigrant story.
Look. As far as I'm concerned, that wasn't a big reason why I voted, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you have to give like a little grace, because sometimes you talk a lot as a politician, and sometimes you get things wrong.
For one, you would never have this grace for Joe Biden, just to be clear. Regardless of what you say, you would never have this grace for Joe Biden. For two, I'm not asking if this is going to be a big part of the reason why you vote for him, but whenever you're giving a principled value where you say like, oh, well, it would actually upset me that he did lie to me and lie to the American people, and I show you an instance of him actually lying, and then JD Vance admitting that both him and Donald Trump actually did kind of lie about the Haitian immigrants that were eating the cats and dogs. And then you say, well, actually, I didn't like vote for him on that, so it actually doesn't really matter that much to me.
No. What I'm saying is this right here. I hear what you're saying. But I did extend grace to Joe Biden, right? I extend grace to all politicians. And I know that they say some stuff that sometimes just, it's just politicking, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm talking about like lying about stuff like this, like serious. Like,
yeah, like
what about
for one, that is serious, because you saw a bunch of hate crimes that happened to the Haitian community that was in Springfield, Ohio. And then, like, even if you were to go by that standard, January 6th is a prime example of the thing where he lied about. The Mar-a-Lago files that was continuously requested by him by the agencies to have that stuff returned to them, and he is on record lying about where the documents are, and he's on a video recording telling his assistant, hey, I need you to hide these files at another part of the Mar-a-Lago estate so that the FBI and whoever else is like requesting the files cannot find them. Like, he is on record lying about this stuff.
I don't know everything about that. I don't know everything about that. I didn't look into that. I heard about it, but I haven't looked into it. So I'll be honest with you right there.
Okay,
I
assume
don't know
all
much
that is
about the
true for
Mar-a-Lago
this
stuff.
hypothetical. Would that be
I thought he
bothersome?
had the power to declassify papers, though.
He does when he's the sitting president, for one. For two, he acknowledges in that recording too that I was referencing, he acknowledges that he did have that power, but that he just did not use it to declassify them. So they're technically still classified.
Yeah, but look. As far as that goes, right? Maybe some things got mixed up.
No, not
He
mixed
just
up.
misplaced some
No,
papers.
not he didn't
You think he
misplace it.
just?
Yes, he is on record verbally saying this. Yes.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. But you got to look. Look. It's some paperwork. He got some paperwork mixed up. Does he really need to go to jail though? Like for mixing up some
We're not
paperwork?
asking for him to go to
Like
jail.
what?
We're asking for him to be uh, prosecuted for whatever crime that he did, whatever is seen fit.
Well, now he can't be prosecuted because now he's a sitting president. He's got immunity.
Yeah, which is fucking retarded.
No, that's how. Look, the executive. We have to have an executive, a robust executive,
Which we did before.
right? What under Joe Biden?
Yes, under every president ever. Yes.
Listen. I heard that they get paperwork mixed up all the time,
They don't.
right? You don't think so? You don't think Obama probably took just a few paperworks home that he wasn't supposed to
If
take
that's
home?
what you mean by mixed up, is by retroactively having material that is classified that was left over from the presidency, I would agree with that. However, every time that stuff has been requested, it has been given back immediately. Same thing happened with Joe Biden. However, with this case, you see him uniquely taking the information from Mar-a-Lago and then directing it to another part of his estate so that so he can keep it.
Again, like I don't know everything about that, right? I just know, listen, I hear what you're saying. I'd have to do more research. I don't know everything about it. I don't know everything. I heard about it a little bit. I heard something about paperwork and the president has the power to retroactively. And then you gotta remember right now, he has immunity. He has immunity from prosecution for
Which was
crimes.
a
So
massive mistake, yes.
no, like we have to have a robust executive. Like
You keep saying
can't
this,
have
but we had
reprisals.
this. We had this before, yes.
No, like
Like, at what point
I
do you
don't
feel
know.
like we did not have a robust executive?
We didn't have one with the last president, man.
Why did we not
Listen,
have one with the last president? Do you think it was an immunity issue that was the problem, or do you think that was something else that was
no,
the problem?
I think he was. I don't think he was actually running the country. I
But you
think it
think
was
Donald
probably
Trump
Obama
is?
or somebody. Obama's running the. No, Trump's running the country right now.
Is
Look,
he?
listen. Yeah. He's got a good team. At least we're getting a little transparency.
We're not
right
getting
now.
transparency for one, and you even said so whenever we were talking about the terrorists, the quote unquote narco terrorists that were being gunned down in the boats. You gave an excuse for why they're not being transparent about that. Also, you again,
That's not
we
an
never
excuse.
had
That's a real.
we never had any other president where he had the executive orders handed to him, and then him have to ask what the executive orders were and explain to him verbally, and then him not even know what habeas corpus is. Like, what is? How are you going to confidently say that Donald Trump is running the country whenever, at least over Joe Biden, whenever all of these facts kind of like line up against him? They just stack over and over and over.
Well, listen. As the executive, I'm pretty sure he has a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of plates. He's got a lot of plates, pans on the oven.
Then why,
man.
if that's the case, then why can Joe Biden do it but not Donald Trump? If Joe Biden was that much worse,
because listen, he didn't have the right perception. At least he didn't stage manage everything correctly. He looked bad. He looked bad, and he made you feel bad. Whereas Trump makes you feel good, and like he gives you the impression that he's running things, and it looks a lot better. And
uh,
and when you look at what you said about the methods, right? It's an ongoing conflict. Ongoing conflict. You can't betray means and methods of how you're getting, these boats coming out into the Gulf of Mexico and the Gulf of America and stuff. You gotta keep that under the hat for right now for strategic purposes. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna say that's not a fair assessment of the situation?
yeah, I'm going to say that's not fair.
Oh, come on, man. I don't think you're being fair.
Where's
I
the
don't think you're being
transparency
honest,
though?
man. Look, how are you going to be transparent when you're blowing up boats? You got to keep that under the hat. You got to keep that how you're getting the means and methods. You got to protect your sources.
Where does the transparency seemingly go after he, unjustly deports people to El Salvador, after he is like wrongfully continuing to keep Obregón Garcia in El Salvador, and then when he's brought back at the orders of the Supreme Court, file bullshit charges against him to try and send him to Uganda? How is this? What are we going to talk about whenever it comes to like transparency or anything like this whatsoever, when he can do it in these other instances where he's blatantly showing these violations, but for some reason in this case it's just not possible?
No, I mean, this is an ongoing conflict. You have troops in harm's way. You have people. You have ships out there.
How do we have troops in harm's way if they're You said that they're identifying these people by satellite. So if they're identifying them by satellite, how are they in harm's way?
No, I said we don't know how they're.
And they're these like small drug ships. Like what's the harm if we're?
Look.
All right, I'm gonna unlock out and get out of here and go to bed.
All right, I'll see you later.
Well, I gotta go too. My phone's about to die.
Wait, real quick. Here, I don't know if Boris had a question for you or anything before you left, but thanks for chatting. I appreciate it. Feel free to hop on whenever you see streaming or anything. Wait, Torres, did you have anything you want to say?
At this point.
Also, Indy, if you ever want to hop on and you want to explore these things together and go through all the documentation and the videos and everything, I will be more than glad to do that with you, so I can show you like all the stuff that I've personally seen, or just things to back up the claims. Okay, so feel free to request or hop on or chat or whatever else. I'll be glad to do that with you. Alrighty, well, I'll see you later. Have a good one.
You too.
You show me where JD Vance said that their dogs by Trump was inaccurate against the guy earlier,
audio recording.
like where JD Vance admitted that they made up the story.
The American
my
media
bad.
totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to,
But it
if
wasn't
I have
just a
to
meme, sir.
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast.
You just said that this is a story that you
Yes.
created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not
We are
accurate.
creating. We are. Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it. I didn't create 20,000 illegal migrants coming into Springfield thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. Her policies did that, but yes, we created the actual focus that allowed the American media to talk about this story and the suffering caused by Kamala Harris's policies.
Of the former president talked.
Bad, sick people.
It was being recorded. This is the first time it is being played publicly.
Bro said creating stories to reveal that the Americans are suffering. Yeah, they're suffering because these fucking Haitians are eating my cat and dog. Fuck.
These are bad, sick people.
That was your coup, against you.
Well, it started right at the
like when
beginning.
Millie's talking about, you were going to try to do a coup. No, they were trying to do that before you even were sworn in.
Thank you, by the way, W Fact Check, sir. Stuff if I'm not like, so I don't like, I don't know. It's just not a good look if you can't really cite or source anything you're talking about.
That's right, trying to overthrow your election.
Well, with Millie, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him. We looked at him. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look.
I hope you don't let Maple near any Haitians just in case. She's capable.
Let's see here.
She's fine.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, Except it is like highly confidential.
This wins my case, except it is like highly confidential.
There's a secret info. Look at this. You attack. And
Hillary would put that out all the time.
she sent it to Anthony Weiner. The pervert. By the way, isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
Ironic to call him the pervert, despite,
And he said he wanted to attack Iran and what? He said
You
it.
did. It's pretty much.
This was done by
Yeah, exactly. Brody said secret info. Yes,
the military. Give it to me.
explicitly, highly confidential.
Probably, right?
We'll have to see. Yeah.
But you can take a look if you
Figure
want.
out a.
Yeah.
This president, I could have declassified.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, let's try to figure out
Declassified.
a.
This president, I could have declassified.
I could have declassified it. What does could have?
Well,
mean?
he's president, so he gets to have that presidential riz of not giving a fuck about the laws in any capacity.
Yeah, we need a
You know?
robust. I think that's what he said. A robust executive. As president, I could have declassified it. It's almost like that's that possibility to do it now. Now I can't. Sorry, he explicitly says it in the next second over. Holy fuck.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. It's so cool. I mean, it's so, I'm look. We heard I. And you probably almost didn't believe me, but now you believe me.
No, I believe
It's
you.
incredible, right?
No,
Hey, bring some Cokes in, please.
Some cokes.
Joining us here.
Fat fuck, loser bitch. Jesus Christ. 5 days ago, U.S. kills 14 and strikes on 4 alleged drug boats in Pacific. Is this going over it, or?
Yeah, that's going over it, but it also gives a brief.
This is footage released by the
from
Department of Defense.
perspective of
It's one of
Venezuela.
more than a dozen similar videos shared by the Trump administration. They all end the same way. In this video from October 22nd, you can see a boat fitted with outboard engines power along in the
True, real difference between could have and has been done. This man is something else.
choppy waters. Toward the stern,
Also,
you
what
can
I was
just make
trying
out
to
what looks
say,
like
so
cargo.
this is what I
Then
was trying to say
direct-
to the other guy that was on here, was that, now I can fact check this because I haven't fact checked this yet as well. I think I like read it somewhere briefly while I was like shifting through shit, but it was something along the lines of like that model boat couldn't have even made it to the U.S., so it was like it wasn't even going there; it was going somewhere else.
What do you mean
they
that it
wouldn't
couldn't?
have-
Like the distance or whatever was like too far?
It's like the distance, the fuel, like the, I guess like the way the fucking currents move when you go to a certain spot in the Caribbean Sea. They're saying that like it would have been unrealistic for it to journey to America, and if it was illegal, it would have probably not ported somewhere for fuel. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It would have probably done a drop like off the shore and then had to turn around.
is that in this article? Or are you saying that like you were seeing something else about it?
I was seeing something else about it. I'm gonna look it up right now.
engines power along in the choppy waters. Toward the stern, you could just make out what looks like cargo. Then a direct hit. Within seconds, the boat is engulfed in flames. White House officials say these strikes are meant to stop drugs from reaching the U.S. mainland. But at least 57 people have been killed. A problem, critics say, because the strategy bypasses due.
Yeah, Alcir, you should check your internet connection and see if it's going good, because if you're hearing that, it's not a good sign.
Process and treats those on board as though they were enemy combatants, even though Congress has not declared war. And few details have been offered about the identities of those killed or what drug trafficking organizations they allegedly belong to. But President Trump insists that the strikes are legal.
When they loaded up with drugs there, fair game.
On Capitol Hill, Democrats, along with a handful of Republicans, have expressed skepticism.
All the questions have not been answered. I've got a lot more.
So yeah, those boats aren't made to go like from South America to mainland U.S. Like they're not capable. They're made for like.
And governments in Latin America have
multi-leg
responded with
groups.
outrage.
Ahí no van narcotraficantes, todos aquí lo sabemos.
The Pentagon is moving more troops and military hardware into the region, including America's newest and largest aircraft carrier. And President Trump has acknowledged that he authorized the CIA to conduct covert operations inside Venezuela. Some say these moves go beyond fighting drug smuggling and signal Trump's intent to remove Venezuela's president, Nicolás Maduro, from power.
Se están inventando una nueva guerra eterna.
And the Trump administration says the strikes will continue as long as drug boats keep making their way north towards the U.S.
U.S. forces have killed 14 people in strikes on 4 alleged boat drugs, or Jesus Christ. Forces have killed 14 people in strikes on 4 alleged drug boats in the Pacific. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said. Mexico's Navy says it's still searching for a lone survivor approximately 400 miles from the Pacific coastal city of how do you say that? Acapulco? Pronounce.
Acapulco?
What'd you say?
Acapulco?
Acapulco.
Acapulco. Acapulco. It is the latest in a series of attacks on boats, the U.S. says, have been carrying drugs in both the Pacific and Caribbean. The latest strikes in the Eastern Pacific, which Hegseth said happened on Monday at the direction of U.S. President Donald Trump, mark an escalation in what it has cast as a campaign to stop narcotics from entering the U.S. The strikes have drawn condemnation in the region. Experts have questioned their legality. Members of the U.S. Congress, both Democrats and Republicans, have also raised concerns and questioned the president's authority to order them. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum told her morning press conference, "We do not agree with these attacks." She said she had asked the country's foreign minister as well as representatives of the Navy to meet the U.S. ambassador. "We all want international treaties to be respected," she added. At least 57 people have now been killed in the strikes, which has led to increasing tensions between the U.S. and the government of both Colombia and Venezuela. Most strikes have taken place off the coast of South America and the Caribbean, but recently the U.S. had turned its attention to the Pacific Ocean as well. Hegseth said in a statement that its 4 vessels were hit on Monday the 4 vessels that were hit on Monday were known by our intelligence apparatus, transitioning along known narco-trafficking routes and carrying narcotics. 8 narco-terrorists were killed in the first strike. 4 and 3 were killed in the following 2 strikes. Survived the strikes. Mexican search and rescue authorities accepted the case and assumed responsibility for coordinating the rescue, according to Hegseth.
You know, you have to look at the people. Many of them are murderers. Many of them are people that were thrown out of their countries because they were, criminals.
Well, you promised in your campaign that you were going to deport the worst of the worst. Violent criminals, rapists.
Well, that's what we're
but a
doing.
lot of the people that your administration has arrested and deported aren't violent criminals.
True, for one. And for two, he also threatened to deport quote-unquote homegrown. Remember this at this point, but
I'd like to go a step further. I mean, I said it to Pam. I don't know what the laws are. We always have to obey the laws, but
he can declare something to be legal or illegal, I guess, you know.
We also have homegrown criminals that push people into subways, that hit elderly ladies on the back of the head with a baseball bat.
This sounds like a personal event that happened.
When they're not looking, that are... I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country, but...
Insane.